Part 1 Parables of Mercy, Forgiveness, the Weeds Among the Wheat, Matthew 13:24a-30. A. Does God allow evil?
Have you ever looked at the world and thought, this is a bit of a mess? Jesus, a master storyteller, once told a story that tackles this exact feeling. He talked about a farmer, a field, good seeds, and some unexpected, unwelcome plants. This story, often called the parable of the weeds among the wheat, isn't just an old tale about agriculture. It's a deep dive into one of life's biggest questions. If there's a good God, why is there so much bad stuff mixed in with the good? Imagine a farmer who's really proud of his field. He sows the best quality wheat seeds, dreaming of a bountiful harvest. But then, something sneaky happens. An enemy comes and scatters weed seeds among the good wheat. These weeds look remarkably like wheat in the early stages. For a while everything seems fine, but as they grow the difference becomes clearer, and the farmer's workers notice a problem. The field isn't pure, it's a mix of good and not so good. The farmer intended for a perfect crop, but an external force has interfered. The presence of these weeds threatens the wheat, competing for sunlight, water, and nutrients. This isn't just about farming, it's a metaphor for our world, a world created with good intentions but experiencing a struggle between positive and negative forces. The workers, seeing the weeds, are ready to rip them out. But the farmer has a different strategy. He tells them to wait, forcing us to think beyond immediate solutions and consider a bigger picture. If God is all-powerful and good, why does evil exist? Why do bad things happen to good people? It can feel like a massive contradiction. We see beauty and kindness, and we think, yes, this makes sense with a good creator. But then we see pain and violence, and it throws us for a loop. The parable of the weeds speaks directly to this confusion. The farmer, representing God, sowed only good seed. The evil, the weeds, came from an enemy. The parable doesn't suggest God is the author of evil. Instead, it paints a picture of a good creation sabotaged. We're not trying to understand why a good God creates evil, but why he allows it to persist for a time. This allowance can be deeply unsettling. If God is all-powerful, why doesn't he just zap the evil away instantly? The easy answers often feel hollow. We crave understanding, a sense that there's a reason. The beauty of Jesus' parables is that they don't always give simple answers. They offer frameworks for thinking. The parable of the weeds doesn't try to explain away the existence of evil. It validates our observation that things are not as they should be. It affirms that there is an enemy, a source of this disruption. But it shifts focus to explain the farmer's current strategy in dealing with the mixed field. To understand this story, we need to decode the characters. Jesus explained this parable to his disciples. The farmer who sowed the good seed is the Son of Man, representing God's presence and action in the world. His intention for the field, the world, is for it to be filled with children of the kingdom. These are the good seeds, the wheat, representing people whose lives reflect God's goodness. They are meant to grow and produce a harvest that brings nourishment and life. Then there are the weeds, a weed called darnel, which looks like wheat in its early stages. The evil isn't always obvious. It can be deceptive, mimicking the good. These weeds are identified as children of the evil one. The enemy who sowed them is the devil. This tells us that evil has an active, intentional source that seeks to corrupt the good. The field is a complex place where the work of God and the counterwork of an enemy are both visible. The good and the bad are growing side by side in the same soil, under the same sun and rain. The farmhands, seeing the weeds, have a practical solution. Do you want us to pull them up? But the farmer says no. His reason is profound. While pulling the weeds, you may uproot the wheat with them. The wheat and the weeds are so intertwined that trying to separate them prematurely could damage the good crop. Judging who is wheat and who is weed isn't straightforward. People are complex. A premature weeding process could lead to terrible injustices and harm the innocent. The farmer's instruction to let both grow together isn't indifference to evil. It's an act of profound care for the wheat, prioritizing the safety and full development of his true crop. This perspective challenges our desire for quick fixes and immediate justice. It suggests that God's timeline and methods might be different from ours. His ultimate goal is the preservation and flourishing of what is truly good. This requires a delicate and patient approach in a mixed-up world. The farmer understands the danger of premature action, so the strategy of patience aims at maximizing the good harvest in the end. The field full of wheat and weeds is a perfect picture of our world today, even in our digital lives. Think about the internet. It's an incredible tool for connection and spreading good ideas. That's the wheat. But that same internet is also choked with weeds, misinformation, online bullying, scams, and echo chambers. These are the weeds sown by an enemy, thriving right alongside the good. Sometimes it's hard to tell them apart. A news story might look legitimate but be false. Trying to clean up the internet without harming free expression is complex. In our communities, we see people volunteering and promoting justice. That's the wheat. Then in the same communities, we see crime and corruption. The weeds. The lines are blurred. People are a mix of both, capable of great kindness and selfishness. Even within ourselves, we see this dynamic. We have good intentions and moments of generosity, our own inner wheat. But we also struggle with selfishness and harmful habits, our personal patch of weeds. The battle isn't just out there, it's in here too. The desire to instantly rip out all our flaws is strong, but it's not that simple. Sometimes aggressive attempts at self-perfection can lead to self-condemnation or burnout. The parable's wisdom applies even to our inner lives. If the weeds grow alongside the wheat, does that mean the wheat is doomed? The parable suggests otherwise. There's a resilience to the wheat, a power in the good seed that allows it to grow even in challenging conditions. Sometimes the presence of challenges can contribute to the strength of the wheat. A plant that competes for sunlight might develop deeper roots. Similarly, individuals and communities that navigate difficulties often develop a more resilient goodness. The farmer hasn't abandoned the field. He's aware of the weeds and knows the struggle. The parable implies his ongoing care and ultimate purpose for the harvest. This can be a source of encouragement. We are not alone in our efforts to cultivate good. We are participating in the farmer's larger plan for his field. This perspective doesn't make the problem of evil disappear, but it offers a way to live with hope. It suggests that our efforts to be wheat matter profoundly. The presence of weeds doesn't negate the value or the ultimate viability of the wheat. The parable doesn't end with the wheat and weeds growing together indefinitely. There's a crucial next step, the harvest, a time of separation. This speaks to a future time when the current mixed state will end, and a clear distinction will be made. The harvest is described as the end of the age, a divine reckoning where the true nature of things will be revealed. The weeds will be separated and disposed of, signifying their destructive nature being brought to an end. This underscores the seriousness with which God views evil and his intention to eradicate it. Conversely, the wheat will be gathered into the farmer's barn, a picture of safety and fulfillment. The barn represents God's kingdom in its fullness. This future separation provides a profound answer to the question of why wait. The waiting period allows for the full growth of the wheat and the possibility of change. Ultimately, there will be a clear and just resolution. Living in this in-between time requires patience and perspective. We see the conflict between the wheat and the weeds daily. Some days it might feel like the weeds are winning. This is where faith and trust come into play. The farmer's instruction to let both grow together is an invitation to adopt a posture of patience. This doesn't mean being passive about evil. We are called to sow good seeds, nurture the wheat, and resist the spread of weeds. But the ultimate separation is not our job and not on our timetable. We must resist the urge to cleanse the field prematurely. God's plan operates on a grander scale, with a wisdom that sees the end from the beginning. His patience is a mark of his mercy and care for the preservation of every stalk of wheat. We live with the tension, trusting that the harvest is coming. The parable of the weeds among the wheat offers a framework for understanding and a reason for hope. It acknowledges the painful reality that our world is a tangled garden. Yet the central figure is the wise and patient farmer. His love for the wheat is paramount. His decision to delay uprooting the weeds is to protect and preserve the good. Instead of being overwhelmed by the presence of weeds, we are invited to trust in the farmer's plan. The promise of a final harvest provides a powerful anchor of hope. It tells us that the current mixed state is not permanent. The goodness sown by God will ultimately triumph. We can choose to be wheat, to grow in goodness, and trust that the Lord of the harvest is in control. The field may be messy now, but a day is coming when all will be made clear.
Please like, share and subscribe. Subscribe to Parables Spark for more inspiring fables brought to life today. Thank you for watching the whole video.